Thank everyone for joining us. I'm Dr. Zoe Williams and we're here in a very important cause. Welcome to the SameYou NFT for Good. I'm proud to support SameYou. They're an incredible organisation that shines a light on the challenges individuals face when recovering from brain injury. Brain injuries will directly affect almost 1 in 3 people during their lifetime, yet the topic is rarely discussed in mainstream media and society. We simply just don't share enough about this very serious condition that will likely impact our lives. SameYou is dedicated to breaking this silence and giving voice to the survivors and to those who have helped in caring for them. The mission of SameYou is to help individuals around the world who are recovering from brain injuries. By locating crucial funding, SameYou will develop a digital recovery platform to connect therapists and survivors and to build a holistic rehabilitation centre. This is a very special organisation and it was founded by 2 incredible women, Emilia, Clarke and her mother Jenny. Inspired by Emilia's own terrifying experience with brain injury, mother and daughter set out to create a charity that helped survivors heal and aid those supporting them on their journey to recovery. They've worked to create a community filled with compassion, love and resilience. Emilia and Jenny can do a much better job actually than I ever could of telling their stories. So before I go any further, let me introduce Emilia Clarke.
Hi everyone. You may have heard my charity SameYou is launching an NFT for good this month. Growing our community is essential. This very special NFT will also help us to spread vital information about SameYou and our vision. NFTs are not just art, but tools that build awareness. We have 4 different auctions with some beautiful digital art from the amazing artist Steven Sebring and some equally beautiful art from Dreamview. Check out the link and get involved, and please share. Tell everyone you know and help us start this movement.
I'd like to tell you why I founded SameYou. At the age of 24, I was starting to see my dreams come true. I'd been cast in the role of a lifetime, and my life was becoming everything I'd hoped for. It was at that moment I was confronted with my greatest challenge. On a day like any other, I went to the gym to see my trainer for a workout. Suddenly, I felt a pain I'd never known before. I tried to ignore it for a moment, but then everything changed. I suffered a bleed on the brain. Suddenly, the hopes of my bright future shifted to hope that I would have a future at all. I was terrified and soon unable to care for myself. I became completely reliant on my loved ones. I was fortunate enough to have the best doctors and the constant support of my close family to help me recover. Without the love and care of all these individuals, my recovery would have been far more difficult. This is a challenge many of us will encounter in our lifetime. Almost 1 in 3 people will suffer from a similar medical emergency, and many will be young, like me. Recovery from stroke and brain injury is a lifelong journey. To play our part in making the changes that are essential, we created SameYou, a charity to help provide access to care and treatment during the crucial period of stroke or brain injury recovery and create greater awareness of brain health. By providing access to information and acting as a catalyst for change, we hope through our world-leading partners to improve the lives of millions of people and their families. Needs and voices are currently left unheard. Together we can find new ways to align healthcare and to provide the essential end-to-end care we all need. To tell you a little more about how we're going to pull it off, here's the person who runs my charity, who tells me what to wear, and who gave birth to me, Jenny Clarke. She's my mum.
Thank you, Emilia. When Emilia went through the first threatening experiences, we started by feeling totally helpless. After a second, more serious event, we realised that we had a clear role in giving her confidence and enabling her to take back control of her life.
Mum was also my primary carer. So tell me, was I a nightmare?
I think the qualities needed for a carer are patience, number 1, and a sense of humour, number 2. because actually it's a really long, hard road.
All right then.
So before I actually tell you something about SameYou and what we're doing to help people after brain injury and stroke, I'd like to spend a moment acknowledging the role of the carer, because it's something I do know from the heart. It was a role I didn't want to play, nobody wants to do it, but I had to, and I did it willingly. But people like me don't really get any chance to tell their side of the story. It's hard for a person in their 20s to be taken care of again, but it's very hard for their family too. We realise that carers also feel alone and abandoned, and frankly exhausted by the stress of the experience, and they need more support too. The Neuro Rehabilitation online programme, Enroll, at the University College London is an example of the research and development we hope to support with the foundation.
Down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It's essential that we find more ways through efforts like the development of digital platforms and mobile apps to assist patients when they return home from the hospital.
Hello, I'm Nick Ward from the National Hospital for Neurology and Neurosurgery, Queen Square in London. Enroll came about in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. We realised that patients with stroke or other forms of brain injury would be discharged home much earlier than normal in order to free up acute hospital beds. Once home, it would be difficult for the community rehabilitation teams to visit these patients, and as a result we'd have a group of people with stroke and brain injury who were not able to access the care and treatment that they need at this really important early period after their injury. So we talked to the rehabilitation teams and we decided to set up Enroll, a form of group online tele-rehabilitation where 1 or 2 therapists can work with groups of up to 10 or 20 patients. These groups provide support for both patients and for their carers, and we have set up groups that target specific problems with movement, communication, cognition, emotion and even fatigue. The work has been made possible by the fundraising of Emilia Clarke's charity, and we want to say a big thank you to them and to everybody that's donated in order to support us in this important work. Thank you.
The Spalding Rehabilitation Hospital in Boston has begun some truly groundbreaking research on the resilience in young adults after they suffer injury and how behavioural therapeutic interventions can help with long-term recovery.
So people need to get involved. This is one of the worldwide issues of our time. It's not restricted to the United States or the United Kingdom. This is a worldwide call to action. We need people to get involved because you can really be a part of changing so many people's lives and giving back. I want to sincerely thank SameYou. Their vision, their thoughtfulness. We are incredibly grateful, and we express also the gratefulness of the patients who will be benefited for this work, not only now, but in years to come. So a big thank you to SameYou and a sincere gratefulness for their collaborative spirit.
The University of Edinburgh, through its highly regarded nurses education programme, is giving registered nurses who work in neurological rehabilitation access to the crucial resources and skill training needed to effectively treat those adults in their care who are recovering from stroke or brain injury.
Stroke is still one of the world's biggest killers. Advances in emergency care mean there are more than 1 million stroke survivors every year, survivors who are in need of long-term rehabilitation and care. The University of Edinburgh is giving registered nurses the chance to develop and enhance their careers with a 1-year postgraduate certificate in neurological rehabilitation and care, delivered by the UK's #1 nursing department, and with fees fully funded by the RCN Foundation, with support from the brain injury charity SameYou.
I'm Dr. Deepak Chopra, and I'm thrilled to announce the collaboration of SameYou and SameYou. This platform is launching the first NFT for good, and we're going to be launching an auction and an NFT drop with Emilia Clarke and her mother, Jenny Clarke, This partnership is to raise funds for brain research and research into brain injury and recovery from brain injury. Today we know that the brain is very plastic, that every experience can be used to harness both neurogenesis and synaptogenesis, which means the growth of new neurons and the growth of connections between neurons. Not only through rehab, but meditation, vagal stimulation, biotechnology, neurotechnology, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, and much, much more. We have the ability to heal injured brains, to heal broken minds, if you want, and repair the damage that comes from all kinds of trauma, whether it's stroke or an aneurysm bleed, which is what happened twice to Emilia, Clarke, and hence her passion for brain recovery and healing brain trauma. So with all the new technologies coming in, and also the ability to offer these technologies in real time, and also through the internet and the multiverse and the metaverse, we're looking at a new era for brain health, brain science, peak performance, peak living, and healing mental and brain trauma. Please join us. Please support this launch, this NFT launch. Emilia Clarke is donating the dress that she wore at the Emmys, and it's going to be a fantastic NFT, and you will be helping the world. You'll be helping those who have suffered trauma and their recovery. So I thank you very much for joining this new movement and this collaboration between SameYou and SameYou. Thank you.
I want to acknowledge the Seva.love NFT for Good platform and send my grateful thanks to Poonacha Machaya and Dr. Deepak Chopra from the Chopra Foundation for their kindness and support. In our journey, we've been privileged enough to meet so many people who are at different stages along the road to recovery. A few of these special people have generously agreed to share their personal stories with us, all in the hope that their journey might help inspire others.
My name is Julie. I am 28 years old. And last year I had a brain aneurysm rupture, and it was just quite an overwhelming experience. And I remember just thinking, well, this is it. I guess if I'm going to die, I'm going to die. And as they wheeled me off into surgery, I remember thinking, if this is going to go wrong, I'd rather be dead than be seriously brain damaged. Because I just didn't want to be brain dead and have loved ones make hard decisions. I didn't want to forget who I was. Sorry, it's quite hard to relive.
I'm Abby, and 8 years ago, I started experiencing the symptoms of a Chiari malformation, a type of cerebellar herniation. I started to experience fatigue and cognitive difficulties. It became hard to function. We didn't get a clear diagnosis for 6.5 years. And when I did, I scheduled a surgery where the herniation was removed, and that was 1 year ago.
Well, a few years back, when I was in my late 20s, I started feeling really weird. I remember to this day I tried gripping a glass. I started to break down in tears because I felt like I was in the wrong body almost. I just had strokes basically. I only told my parents and my brother and my sister at the time, that what had happened. I didn't like social media or anything like that. I felt like this was something that was very private, something I needed to take care myself. And I think there was like shame, but like I didn't understand why this happened. Like I've never done a drug in my life, and people were, the first question they asked me was, "Did you do drugs or something like that?" No. So nothing like that.
In 2018, I was diagnosed with cervical cancer, and then during my treatment, something just happened where I reacted quite badly to the first lot of chemo. I had like a really low immune system. It led to a brain infection, which then led to a stroke. You're not going to make it.
The problem was I was trying to hide the things that I'd lost. I was trying to hide what was a problem. Okay, my memory's really bad, and I frequently forget what I've done. I'd had this stroke, or these 2 strokes, and it had an effect on my body. If it's not obvious that you have deficiencies, it can be very hard to get support.
Luke went in to try and get into a friend who was in a neighbouring room, and it was an unsteady balcony, and it kind of the thing moved, and then Luke fell and hit his head. I was unconscious for a long time. I can't remember anything really. I don't know if you know, Tyler, we're identical twins, so that was like, I think, particularly tough thing for Luke, especially in the early days when he had almost like a measuring stick of how much that injury has impacted him.
So I was moving into my new flat. I felt a little bit funny, like I felt a little bit queasy, and I had a bit of a headache, and I kind of just put it down to not having my tea and being hungry and stressed from moving. And I just all of a sudden just decked it and fell over and sort of hit my head. But I remember a nurse, like somebody talking to me and saying like, you're going to have an operation, they're going to have to take out a piece of your skull, like you've had a stroke, you're really poorly. One of the saddest parts was like, I can't even explain it, but I knew that my leg would come back and I would be able to walk. Like I just instinctively knew that was going to happen eventually. But I really felt like my arm, it didn't feel like my arm, it felt like it was never going to come back. And my dad, I remember like my dad got really upset, like this one time they'd come to visit, and I just said to him, I was like, what if one day like I want to have kids and I can't even hold my own baby? And then my dad just cried, and he was just like, yeah, so it's making me emotional stuff. And he was like, you will, like of course you will. You'll find a way, like you'll figure it out.
So yeah, when I got home from hospital, I felt a bit lost, to be honest. You know, after brain injuries, your brain just requires so much more energy than it did before to do simple tasks. And then it drains every bit of energy that you have for any other activity in the day. I remember when I got home, I couldn't walk up the stairs anymore. It was upsetting and frustrating because every day was sort of the same. I could not watch TV because it felt like it was just too much for my brain to cope with. I could not read. I just couldn't do anything. And it's been so difficult and quite emotional journey, quite an exhausting one. But every day I still do it. I still push to have that life back that I had before.
I would say that one of the biggest developments that has allowed for me to reach the point in recovery where I am was a therapist that specialized in working with chronically ill. A lot of the work we did was figuring out how all of these, what felt like fractured pieces of myself, coalesced into Abby, and who that was, and also the life that I was living, whether I got better or not, was one worth living. That my brain and body didn't have to be healed for me to be whole.
Every time I walked in, you're so young. And I think that they were having a hard time kind of like, you know, dealing with it too. And especially when I went to physical therapy, all the physical therapy and all the kind of, I guess, structure around it was really made for elderly people. It was definitely extremely physically challenging time, certainly a mentally challenging time, because I think that one thing that they don't speak about enough is, just the weird, with the stroke, it certainly causes strange chemical imbalance in my brain that caused me to be, really emotional, and it was just a crash course, biology, anatomy, and trying to figure myself back out again.
I was 38 when I had my stroke, which is a huge shock to somebody to think you could even have a stroke at that age. My family were great, but they also had their own thing. They had kids, they had jobs, so they couldn't always help out, and I live on my own. So then it got to the point where I just thought, I don't know how to get help, and every time I tried to reach out, they would give me the wrong information, so it would be a fatigue course or something. I'm thinking, I don't know how to speak yet, I don't know how to understand. My cognitive skills had disappeared, so I didn't know how to. If someone said turn left, I wouldn't turn left. I had no idea which way to go. And I think they just lost me, because every time I try and reach out to them, they'll say I'm on an 18-week waiting list. And yeah, so it's that kind of thing where you just got lost, and then you had to sort of fix it yourself. And I remember thinking every day, it was like, just survive.
The NHS is overwhelmed, and I don't think the NHS would be able to provide the care that I had. And one of the things is that care is patchy around the country. It's not as good in this place as
But there was occasions where I was getting a WhatsApp call from Luke at, in the middle of the night, like, I don't know what's happened to me, and he had fallen off his chair, and this point his mobility was really bad, and he didn't know what, that he was trying to call for help, they weren't coming, and we kind of figured out that this place was really under-resourced, understaffed, and they'd give a timetable of stuff that he was doing, but he was basically kind of sat looking at a wall for the majority of time, and it's at such a critical point in your recovery. Your brain's kind of needing new pathways. Stimulation is the most important thing, really, and it doesn't matter where that comes from. That could be, trying to paint, like you mentioned earlier, or take up a hobby or something like this. But unfortunately, the model, it's this is not an uncommon story that someone ends up in a place like this. So yeah, we try to get him out of that place as soon as possible.
One of the big obstacles for us was because I was young. I feel like there was less support that was geared around people my age. Like, I went to quite a few stroke support groups, and they were all kind of like 60 plus, and I just felt like I was really sticking out. When you had a stroke, you really feel like ashamed and that people are judging you. And I've had a lot of comments before of like, if I'm going to a pub, people think that I'm drunk, because at least earlier they did, because I was kind of wobbly and on buses and things. I think people would always just assume something negative about you.
Because I initially decided to share my story because Emilia sharing her story and creating the charity really changed my life. Because when I was in the hospital, and at first when they were explaining to me what happened, I was thinking, oh, this is what happened to Emilia Clarke, because I had read her story when she had published it. And I was just amazed at her courage, and I thought, this is, such a horrific thing for each to have to go through. But I mean, when I had read it, I never in a million years thought that would happen to me. But it gave me a point of familiarity, because when I was sort of not really understanding what was happening, I thought, oh, Emilia Clarke had this, she's okay. And those nights in the hospital when I was in pain and I was alone and I was scared, I kept, thinking of her and thinking, she did this. She had a horrible experience in the hospital. She had a horrible recovery, but she recovered. And I keep kind of thinking about that. And, even now as I'm trying to get my life back, I keep remembering, that she did. And that if she could do it, then I could do it. And her story it helped me beyond words. So I thought, if I share my story, and even if there's one person out there who reads it and gets some comfort from it, then it would be worth it.
These events that raise awareness for brain injury are so important, because brain injury is all around you and most people don't see it. And a lot of that is because survivors feel like they have to walk this tightrope of performing wellness so that they will be accepted by society. Raising awareness is a really important step in helping in getting to a place where survivors feel like they can just exist as they are and be accepted and seen without having to paste wallpaper over all the issues that they face.
What I can speak to is I really wish there was more comprehensive, full life cycle, full circle kind of care of, mental health, the physical side of things, and what have you. I think anything that kind of lifts that veil of shame on people that have gone through things, and I walk with a little bit of a limp now, and it's something that bothered me for years, and I could give a shit less about it now, But I think finding out, even Emilia Clarke herself, went through that and was very public about it. It was a sense of, this happens to more. This isn't such an anomaly. This isn't such a crazy thing, that there is a group of people out there that have gone through the same thing I have. And everything can be very overwhelming, but when there's a sense of camaraderie there, and especially one that's so public, I think that it caused a sense of comfort in a way.
I was literally told I was going to die, and then I was told I was going to be in palliative care, and then I was going through my cancer, and I still managed to somehow come out of it. But I think for me it's a huge thing about having a positive attitude. So even how terrible you feel and how worried you are, it's thinking, look how far I've come, and then how much further you can go from that point.
I still don't know how I was lucky enough to be contacted by SameYou. I suspect it was the doctors. The doctors who were treating me suggested Paul might benefit from this. If I could find whoever it was who suggested me, I'd probably frighten them, but I'd go and give them a big hug and a big kiss and offer to cook them a dinner or whatever they want, because it was fantastic. And without it, I don't know where I'd be. So whoever put me forward for SameYou, please let me know and I'll cook dinner for you.
I've started a company Luke and I did about 18 months ago, and it's basically a smart platform to help support memory and kind of deliver little nuggets of rehabilitation to neurorehabilitation to people. 90% of rehab is done at home anyway. Brain injury is not an ending, it's the beginning of something new. Everyone's gone through this life-changing experience, and I think it brings people very close together.
It's a feeling of being quite helpless, a feeling of losing that control, and a feeling of grieving a part of yourself that you've lost, which is hard. But I think it can make you a stronger person if you learn to live without that side of yourself. You find new ways of moving, of thinking, of being, and in a way that's quite liberating and that's quite empowering. And I think somebody who's gone through a brain injury or something like that sees the world and experiences the world in a different way to everybody else, and in a sense I think that's really powerful.
I now have belief. My future's filled with possibility, and that's everything. Possibilities that I couldn't dream of a couple of years ago. And it means I can keep going.
It's powerful to hear these stories, and as we've just heard, the journey to recovery, it really is a personal one. No two brain injuries are ever the same, but every survivor embodies resilience. Now, SameYou's founder and survivor Emilia will tell us about this special NFT for good we're auctioning to raise awareness for money and continue to make an impact on the lives of those affected by brain injury.
I'm sure you have all been hearing a lot recently about NFTs. I've just been doing my research and have just discovered that NFT stands for non-fungible tokens. Still confused. Actually, an NFT is a piece of digital content that can also represent the same item in the real world. Simple, right? NFTs have taken the world by storm, and with good reason. They are part of an exciting future for fashion, art, and entertainment. NFTs give physical and digital artists an opportunity to benefit from their work and gain increased exposure in their professional communities. Now, it is our hope that through your generosity, the NFT that is up for auction today will benefit those countless individuals who struggle to regain their lives after devastating brain injuries. And just as this vital cause is important to me, so is this NFT for good we are asking you to bid on this evening. This NFT is something very near and dear to my heart. A digital representation of the Atelier Versace dress I wore to the 2016 Emmy Awards in Los Angeles when I was nominated for Best Supporting Actress in a Drama Series for my work on Game of Thrones. It's appropriate as well because it is entirely made of chainmail. And it is, and remains, the heaviest dress I've ever worn in my life. It's incredible. It's absolutely a work of true, it's amazing, but really so heavy. The dress remains one of the most elegant pieces I have ever had the honour to wear, a work of true craftsmanship by one of the world's best designers.
So who are you?
I'm Claire from SameYou.
Who are you? I'm Stephen Sebring. The plan was to drop the dress as an NFT, Versace dress that she wore. You know, starting to get into the NFT world and that, you know, building a metaverse during the pandemic of my own, and it just felt natural to work with the foundation, and it seemed like a logical thing to do. And it's going to be interesting to see how it does in that sort of NFT world of metaverse. So I built this as a tool and been playing in the 3D and 4th dimensional worlds for a long, long time. And because of my background in fashion and music and the art worlds, I wanted to get into new ideas and new ways of seeing things. So basically this camera system is a new creative media room that you can achieve through single captures of taking pure reality, photographic reality moments quickly, and it can be applied to any application. So that's why I got into the metaverse ideas. And I think, you know, from shooting a lot of dimensional imagery in this camera and how it can be dropped as NFT through a foundation, especially brain, and if that helps people with brain injuries, what that would do, that if they would understand that and focus a bit, it could be cool.
I think the main thing that's come about from this is creating new ways for people to identify with how they feel after a brain injury and to be able to share kind of those feelings. I think from what we've seen today with what you've been doing with the dress, the imagery is just so beautiful, quite emotional, that I think people will identify with it.
Emotional. Yeah, I get emotional. Yeah, I think that's a good identification, especially with your foundation.
Yeah.
Right. So for this whole idea, capturing a sacred dress or a sacred foundation and all these things, it's just a perfect marriage. Now it's like let's capture the soul of the dress. If you can do that, I mean, I think we kind of do that.
I think you have, and I think what you said about creating a story is exactly
a story. That's based on brain injury.
Yeah, all the different stages that people go through from when they first have the brain injury, with the kind of manicness you created with the dress, to kind of coming back round to the calm, to see that recovery is possible.
I wore this gown at a very important moment in my life, both personally and professionally. The brilliance of Atelier Versace that you see here represents something greater than the sum of its parts. It is a physical marker of a milestone in my life I was able to reach thanks to the support of those I hold dear. To me, it means more than this celebration. It's about the resilience that brought me there. The NFT of the gown is a digital marker that commemorates the artistry and craftsmanship in a new medium. NFT culture is a movement that uses art history and digital thinking to forge a new artistic legacy. It is a young culture as well, which should leave us optimistic about future generations and their appreciation of art. With that said, I'm happy to part with this gown and present it along with this NFT to the generous individual who helps us continue our important work here at SameYou.
Friends, today is the day. This is a culmination of almost 3+ months of hard and our collaboration with SameYou. I'm extremely honored to be collaborating with SameYou, with Jenny Clarke and Emilia Clarke, and the entire community of SameYou, and now joining us on Save Our Love platform. Save Our Love was started with a single-minded passion by Dr. Deepak Chopra and myself to really use the metaverse for good. And this NFT is in the right direction. It is all the proceeds from this particular NFT is going to go support the community and the amazing work by SameYou. So what I wanted to do is to kind of break down what this NFT is all about. So we're going to have the first one, which is the highlight of the NFT, is the story of resilience. A story of resilience by Emilia Clarke, 4K video render by our partner Dreamview and Folio Studios. It has been featured on Super Rare. So if you head over to our website today, savor.love, you will actually see the first NFT, which is the featured NFT drop on Super Rare. Once again, I'm grateful to the entire community on Super Rare for supporting us, for really recognizing that this NFT is about community. It is about doing good in the community. So that's one thing I really wanted to say. As a co-founder of savor.love, the reason we did this is to really create NFTs for good and rally around the community. We all know that Web3 is a migration from the traditional world of renter's economy to the owner's economy, where the artist and the cause is highlighted. And today, our cause is SameYou. And this is the personal story of Emilia and also millions of others who are silently suffering from brain injury and mental health. So once again, join us on this super rare drop with the resilience story. And what is unique about this particular one-of-one is that we are auctioning Emilia's dress, the gown she wore for the Emmys, and along with the dress, we also have featured a lot of utility value. The most important one, the utility value, is by Steven Sebring. Sebring has actually created a unique rendition, a 3D rendition of the dress, which can then be also used in the metaverse. Along with that, the winner of this particular auction will be able to connect on a call, a Zoom call or a video call with Emilia and also Dr. Deepak Chopra. Dr. Deepak Chopra graciously collaborating with us to kind of also do a personal meditation with the winner of this particular one-of-one auction. And there are many more utility values and signed collectible by the Queen I guess the Dragon Queen herself and supporting her community. Along with the one-of-one, we also have a marketplace which we have launched, the NFT. If you go to nft.savor, you will actually see an entire Emilia Clarke, SameYou Emilia Clarke collection unfold. We have 10 one-of-ones, which is a unique collection of the resilience branches. And this is a video which is encoded with the binaural beats to really signify the resilience and the neuroplasticity of the brain. So they're going to be 10 one-of-ones, and these one-of-ones are going to also come with a physical signed digital print and signed by Emilia herself. So once again, head over to nft.savor.love and show us some love, because your love is going to help a lot of people. And today is Giving Tuesday, and that's the reason why we wanted to do this particular launch on Giving Tuesday, to show that we are here because we all stand on the shoulders of great people. And your support in this NFT drop, I'm also calling out all the amazing, I would say, philanthropists out there to support this particular drop on Giving Tuesday. So one of the things which we were very passionate about at Save Our Love is about sustainability. Sustainability is at the core of what we do at Save Our Love. So our platform is built on Hedera. It also has a marketplace which supports Ethereum. So On the Hedera platform, we are carbon negative, and also we're partnering with companies to offset, a carbon offset, which is there in the Ethereum network. So sustainability is the core of what we do. So this whole particular NFT was not just about getting people who are in the crypto world, but we also wanted to support the millions of fans of Emilia. And what we're doing for that is that we have offered a $100 collectible, which is what is called restoration. By the way, this is my favorite NFT. It's a beautiful rendition of the brain. And please go and support this particular NFT, because this $100 NFT is on Hedera platform, which is carbon negative. So for everybody out there is wondering how we are supporting this particular platform, trying to be sustainable, this is how we are doing it. So we're going to have the resilience story, which is going to be featured on Super Rare. We have the 10 101 which are featured on NFT.saver.love. We have this one particular NFT called Restoration, which is $100, which is an open edition, so everybody can go participate and join this movement of NFT for good. And we're also featuring a collection which is called Resilience in Motion, which is going to feature Steven Sebring's amazing collection of NFTs. So this is, I would say, from my perspective, a story of love, and a love to do good. Everything, Deepak and me over the years have collaborated and said, we want to create a more peaceful, just, sustainable, joyful, healthier and happier world. And this today is a culmination of doing good in the metaverse. And I'm very grateful to, once again, Jenny and Emilia Clarke from SameYou and the entire SameYou team and community and other partners who have worked tirelessly with us to make this drop happen today. So once again, my gratitude from Savor Love and from the Savor Love team. Once again, wishing this particular drop the very best. It'll only work with your support. So once again, this is all about community, and show us your love on Giving Tuesday and support the drop. Head over to savor.love for more information. Thank you.
I want to thank you all for being here today. The kindness and support shown to all of us has been overwhelming. I'm so proud of what my mum and everyone at SameYou has built, and being able to share that with you has been very special to me. As we look to the future, we envisage great things for SameYou as we continue to seek out new and more effective ways to help those who have experienced brain injury. I'll let my mum, Jenny Clarke, tell you more about the details of what we hope to accomplish in the years ahead, as she is the mastermind behind most of our grandest plans.
I'm really excited to share some of SameYou's goals we can only achieve with your support. We're going to create a centre to deliver specialist mental as well as physical support for those who need care as they recover from brain injury. This SameYou Centre will be a hub for individuals to share their stories and build relationships as part of a community where everyone is committed to their healing, their health and their well-being. And when geography keeps someone from visiting our centre, there will be answers and healing found through the power of digital technology that unites our world. We will also develop the SameYou rehabilitation platform so we can provide potentially life-saving information, wellness, exercises and community support all over the world. A connected network of survivors joined together, supporting one another and ready to help others when the time comes, no matter where they are. At the heart of everything we do is the brain injury community. Everything we do is to help give survivors a voice and a platform they may not otherwise have. So our immediate next step is to increase awareness of the issue and start to build a movement calling for change. People desperately need specialist information and means of care to ensure a full recovery from brain injury. We know that collaboration is key. That's why spreading the word is so essential and why we need you, so the supporters, the medical professionals. You will help us create this movement so that future generations will receive the best possible care. We are only strong enough to accomplish our goals when we do it together, and our voices unite as one.
please, please, please bid on the NFT to support the work we are doing at SameYou. You have the power to make an incredible difference here today. And to everyone watching, I ask that you spread the word about what we're doing here and find out about how to support those suffering from brain injury in your community. We need to rally together around these and become the shoulder that future generations can lean on. Join us. We need you. On behalf of I want to thank all of you for supporting us and joining us on this journey. There's so much more great work to do, and we're going to do it together. Yes.
Thank you so much. Once again, we want to thank everyone who helped make this event a reality, and we're grateful to everybody who joined us. Now, let's get to work and make the difference. Good night.
Hey, I'm not giving up today. Nothing came in my way. If not now, I will never up again.
I just finished my Zumba class after 5 years of trying because I've lost all my coordination.